What's up everyone? Michael from ShadowTraffic here, and today we're going to look at the basic API for ShadowTraffic. In our last video we did a hello world and we just got a couple of generators set up to just do the absolute basics and print some data standard out. Today we're going to look at a couple more different generator calls. We're going to look at how they compose, and we're going to get your data into Postgres and Kafka. And so I'm going to go ahead and start ShadowTraffic. I created a new file called users.json. We're going to model a table of users. And so all I did was change the volume mount, but otherwise I'm running with standard out, a sample of 5, and watch. So don't worry about setting up anything in Postgres just yet. And so I've got my file over here. There's really nothing in it. It's just sort of blank. So I've got some users and empty rows, and let's get to work. So what's in a users table? Well, maybe there's a column with a name, and a name is a string, a string that has an expression. I'm going to call it template and name. Keep it really simple. We'll do a first name. I'll run that. Everything looks really good. I see Dante, Claudio, Todd, pretty basic stuff. And now I'm going to move on and do something a little bit different. I'm going to create an age. And so for an age, there's a couple different ways to get numbers. I'm going to do a uniform distribution, so I can pick ages of all different kinds with equal probability. And for a uniform distribution, I want to say pick people who are between like 18 and 80 or something like that. And I get different numbers. I get 73, I get 63, 58. This is good, but I've got some decimal places here, which is not really what I want for an age. I want whole integers. So I'm going to back out of this uniform distribution, and I'm going to do a different generator. And here you're going to see the composability of ShadowTraffic. So I'll do, instead of gen, I want integers. So I'm going to say, give me an integer. And an integer generator has only one parameter, which is n. And it basically says, give me the number, and I'll turn it into an integer. Just basically do the rounding for you. And so when I run it, now I get what I was looking for. I get 61, 60, 49. Whole integers. Looking really good. The last thing I want to do for my users table is to add, I don't know, like a membership level. So I'll do level, and here I want to have different levels. And so this is a good chance to show an enumeration. So one of, I'm going to pick one of some choices. What are my choices? Let's do some like standard stuff: gold, silver, and bronze. And I'll run it, and I've got gold, bronze, gold, gold, gold. And this is good, but it doesn't really, probably simulate traffic with, any kind of, reality to your data set. It's unlikely that a third of your users are on the gold tier. And so let's do something a little bit more realistic. Instead of just one of, I'm going to do weighted one of. And I'm going to say, instead of these, let's do, we'll go ahead and edit. And I'll say, I'm going to have different choices here. And so I'm going to add some parameters here. So each of these is a value. And I'll go ahead and run it and show what it looks like when it's not quite right. So I've got weighted one of choices, each with the values presented here. And ShadowTraffic comes and gives me an error and says, for each of these, there's a required key. The required key is weight. And weight tells me basically what probability to generate each of these things with. And I'll go ahead and say weight. And I don't know what the weights are yet, but I don't know, maybe like 10% of your users are gold, 40% are silver, and 50% are bronze or something like that. These don't need to add up to any particular value. They'll just sum, and the relative proportions will be used for generation. And so now I've got more silver and bronze users than I would gold, which is what I really want for my data set. Okay, so my users table looks good. I have a row with 3 different columns. Now I actually want to get it into Postgres. And so I'm going to turn off ShadowTraffic, and I'm going to remove this watch flag, and I'm going to remove the standard out flag. I'll keep the sample one just to make sure everything's actually going to look right. I've pre-populated the Postgres connection detail here, so everything's looking right. I've gone ahead on my local machine and I've set up a Docker compose file for running Postgres and Kafka. I'll put that link in the description. But I'll go ahead and I'll run this. And so if I run it, I see an error. What do I have? I've got connection to localhost 5432 refused. This is actually a really instructive moment. Often when you're developing with Docker Compose, you're going to have containers that are on different networks. Easy way to solve this is to just put them all on the same network and say net is host, so that they're all able to talk to each other. And so I run it, and it produces 5 events, and it completes. And so let's go actually check that my data is there. And so I'm going to open up a new tab in my terminal. I'm going to open up the container for Postgres. I'm going to hook in, and I'm going to go look at the database that I've sent data to. And now I'll select data from my users table, users. that's all looking really good. So if I run it again and maybe I say I want like 15 rows, it's gonna just continue to populate more data. And so this looks awesome for Postgres. Now I'm gonna go ahead and see what this looks like for Kafka, just to show an alternate backend. I'm gonna kick it back into standard out mode, because this is gonna sort of let me see if I have it all right before I wire it all together. I'm gonna bring in another connection instead of just Postgres here. And I'm gonna add another one, which is called Dev Kafka, which is the name for it, and it's a Kafka connection. Again, it connects to my my local broker, and then I'm using just some JSON SERDES to just get the data in. And so I'm gonna run it, and let's see what happens. Now it says a connection attribute has to be supplied. I've got more than one connection. I've got Kafka defined and I've got Postgres defined. So what do I want to do? Like, how should the data be shaped? Well, first of all, I have to say which of these it's connected to. So for this one, I want to say it's to Dev Kafka, and I'll rerun that. And now it says, okay, I need a required key or value, and I need a topic. This is already shaped for Postgres. Instead, what I need is it to be shaped for Kafka. And so this is easy enough to change. Instead of a table, I have a topic, and instead of a row, I've got a value. Maybe I'll have a key, but it's easy enough to do here. And so now I'm generating Kafka data just like that. I've got users, no key, but I've got Alma42 is a silver user, and so on and so forth, just like before. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna close this off, and just like before, I'm gonna generate 15 samples, and let's see if everything's gonna work out okay. I'm gonna open up a new terminal, this time to Kafka. I've gone ahead and I've already created the users topic. I'm going to start the consumer for users, and now I'll go ahead and I'll run 15 samples, and let's see where we go. And I get them right here. And I'll go ahead, I'm just going to take off the sample. And this is kind of ShadowTraffic running, with its intended purpose. It's just sitting here spooling out data indefinitely, just meant to simulate your actual production workload. And so that's it for this tutorial. Looking forward to showing you more on the next one.